Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Jeremy, and today I'll be starting the series on how to use the Comparative Historical Analysis Tool. In part one, we are going to go over the tool. The content that we're going to be looking at is going to come from grade 10, unit 1 on early modern empires. Specifically, we'll be using sources and information from the grade 10, unit 1, lesson 11, comparing the Tokugawa shogunate and the Bourbon dynasty. So our video objectives is to learn how to analyze and categorize similarities and differences using the Comparative Historical Analysis Tool. So let's look at how the tool looks like. There are a couple parts to this tool. The first part is going to be gathering evidence. So that's going to be step one, where you're going to list the major facts about each part of our case studies. In this case, we're going to be looking at two empires. And you're going to record the facts that you think are the most important to understand the topic being analyzed. Sometimes it's helpful to do a step before this, a step 0 you may want to do, where you want to look at some documents to really gather information. Or you might be asked to use your knowledge of world history to fill these out as well. And then in step 2, you're going to take the information that you brainstormed and listed in step 1, and you're going to now try to group them into different categories. You're going to look at these points and look at, well, what do these points have in common with each other? Where could they go and I could put them together? And I'll show you how to do that when we look at step 2. And you'll do that for both the case study A and the case study B. Then once you have your categories done, you're going to go into step 3, and then you're going to identify the categories that you think are the most important to make this comparison. So which category makes the most sense for you to compare these two case studies together? What things can you compare that can make a really interesting argument or a comparative statement, which is our eventual goal? And what categories have enough evidence? So it's not only enough to have these categories, but which one has enough evidence for us to actually write and compare? And then we're going to choose really one category, and we're going to complete step 4, which is going to be a comparison chart. And this comparison chart is going to put the two case studies together, facing each other basically, and against one category, and what evidence do we have that proves that they're similar, but also what differences will we also see between the cases. So remember, when we're comparing, we're not just looking for similarities, we're also looking for how they are also different. And then we're going to put all of this together in step 5, where we're going to answer a question that really helps us develop a comparative analysis. Right? So why do we do this? And I think this is a good place to talk about that. Well, we do comparisons because we want to really understand something about the historical moment. We don't want to only just look at one piece of evidence. We want to really understand maybe a bigger picture. So it's a good thing to look at two cases and look at what they have in common, but also what they don't have in common, because it gives us a really deeper understanding and a deeper analysis of the historical moment. So we're going to go into that in our next video. And in this video series, we're going to really look at the comparative process. In the next video, we will engage in what you could consider that step 0 I mentioned, where we're going to look at two documents to really kind of help give us a background information about these empires. So while, of course, you could do step 1, like I mentioned, without any documents, and it's based on your prior knowledge of world history, it's always good to get evidence whenever possible. So that's going to be happening in our next episode, next video, and we're going to look at two documents about the Bourbon dynasty and the Tokugawa shogunate. And those can be found if you want a preview in grade 10, unit 1, lesson 11. See you in the next video.